Hello, my name is Natalie Thomas, and this is my presentation for reading fluency and comprehension. Come on. Okay, there we go. All right, so the first article I found is Relationships of Three Components of Reading Fluency to Reading Comprehension. So something that I found about this topic is how this journal examined the relationships of three levels of reading fluency, which are the individual word, the syntactic unit, which is the sentence structure, as well as the whole passage. So those are the three levels of reading fluency. And this journal went ahead and examined the relationships of these three levels of reading fluency to reading comprehension among hundreds of fifth grade heterogeneous and fifth graders in heterogeneous reading ability. So, why I think it's important for teachers to understand this topic is because the students who demonstrated the highest performances in reading comprehension also displayed fast recognition of isolated words, so sight words, adaptedness in processing phrases and sentences as syntactic units, while engaged in oral and silent reading. And lastly, the students would demonstrate appropriate, consistent expressions when reading stories and information text out loud. So these empirical studies of the relationships among reading skills have often reported moderate to high positive correlations between measures of fluency and comprehension. So this study kind of says that they go hand in hand with development. And so how teachers can use this information in their classroom. So interventions, they should use interventions that focus on increasing fluency because they have often been associated with significant gains in both fluency and comprehension, as well as correlations between the gains in each skill for new readers and struggling readers. All right, so my second article is The Science of Reading Comprehension Instruction. So something that I found about the topic was that reading comprehension is not automatic, even when fluency is strong. So this kind of says the opposite of the first article, and I kind of lean more towards what this article has found. So the term that is found at the top is comprehension. So this is from the words comprehension and action. So this is to refer to doing something with meaning that has been constructed, such as to learn something that one has become interested in, to be entertained by the antics of a funny character, to follow the steps to make something, to critique an argument, or to understand an issue in someone's own community. So that's what a comprehension is, and that was coined in this article. Why it's important for teachers to understand this topic is because comprehension processes vary by what and why we're reading. So this kind of has to tie into student engagement and the purpose of why they're reading something. So is it a school assignment, like an assigned informational reading, or is it a book voluntarily read for pleasure? So this kind of then segues into student choice reading, and that can improve student focus, therefore positively improving comprehension since they are more focused and engaged in the topic they're reading about. How teachers can use this information in their classroom. So right here down below is a visual representation of effective reading comprehension instruction that reflects what was found in this article. So the model incorporates teaching, let me go ahead and expand this for you. There we go. So the model incorporates teaching word reading and bridging skills that support reading comprehension development. So that's right at the bottom. And then we have reading comprehension is not automatic, even when fluency is strong, kind of like I said before. So teaching text structures and features fosters reading comprehension, comprehension development. Um, Comprehension processes by what we're reading, comprehension strategies, instruction, improve comprehension. So the more we work at it, the better it will get. Vocabulary knowledge, building support, reading comprehension development, and instructional practices that kindle reading motivation to improve comprehension. All right. And so the thing about this model, the thing about this model is that it presents these practices in a layered kind of form, not a balance of fluency and comprehension, because reading motivation isn't presented as a construct to address fluency or comprehension in isolation, but rather as a set of practices. All right. All right, now my first website that I found is encouraging students to read for deeper comprehension. So a lot of times the size of a reading can intimidate students, so it's helpful for teachers to break up the reading into manageable chunks. And then after each chunk, ask a single question, or you can give out a short comprehension quiz. This strategy can be helpful for students who have learning disabilities or just are struggling readers in general. So this is important for teachers because good reading is a learned skill, and it's particularly challenging when distractions are everywhere. So a lot of times we forget that teachers are accustomed to reading, like we like reading. So for many students, reading is easy, but this isn't the case with all students. And before we employ any strategies, first, as teachers, we should empathize with those for those who are struggling readers and who reading doesn't come naturally. So ways for teachers to use this information in their class include annotations or text talk while reading. This helps students conduct a dialogue with reading materials. This conversation can look like many things. For example, it can be an oral discussion, individual annotations, or a class-led annotation where we might be using a smartboard or something like that to annotate text. Another one is short writing assessments, even ones that can just be one sentence. So when students are deciphering concepts, they're primed to contemplate what they read about at a deeper level. So summarizing, for instance, obliges students to read the text multiple times, identify the key concepts and the main points in the text, and then decode complex passages and summarize it into a shorter sentence or into a shorter summary text. All right, and then my second website is, my first website, let's see, my first website is from, Edutopia. My second website is from Reading Rockets, and this is Understanding and Assessing Fluency. So something that I found in this article on this website is that fluency is necessary, but it's not quite as sufficient, but it's not sufficient for understanding the meaning of the text that is read. So that's more of comprehension. So when children read too slowly, the text evolves into a broken string of words or phrases, and it's a struggle to just remember what's been read, much less extract the meaning of the text. So this is kind of saying how fluency and comprehension kind of go hand in hand. So it's important for teachers to determine if their students' fluency is at a level appropriate for their grade. If not, how can we develop it? This process begins with the assessments of the component pieces of fluency, which are porosity, accuracy, and rate, as we have learned in the past. Many researchers have found on the more easily quantifiable components, so like measurable components of fluency, which are rate and accuracy. And therefore, some basic questions about porosity, like what should be expected in the second grade versus sixth grade, haven't quite yet been answered. So a way to use this in the classroom is to assess porosity, the component of fluency, is after listening to an individual student read aloud, the teacher should rate the student's reading according to the level that'll best describe the student's overall performance with the National Assessment of Educational Progress Fluency Scale, which I have here at the bottom. So I can go ahead and click to the next slide, and it's bigger. So this is, will basically rank or assess a student based on 4 levels of fluency. And that's a great way to measure porosity rather than accuracy and speed. All right, my first activity is Reader's Theater. So I found this on Read, Write, Think. So this is performing literature to promote fluency and comprehension. This is good for grades 1 through 5, depends on the text that the grade level or class is reading. So Reader's Theater is highly motivational, and it can provide a context for authentic reading. So more emotionally driven, more invested into the reading. So students will read to convey meaning using their voice, facial expressions, and gestures. And then this also helps analyze the literature to increase reading fluency because they have to be able to perform this text. The only requirement is the script, and costumes, props, backgrounds are not necessary. They're more optional. So the strategy and practice is first to distribute and introduce the script to the students and have them make predictions about the story or the characters, and also ask students to follow along as you read the script aloud. Next, you would create a list of vocab words found in the script. The teacher should write these words on the board or a big piece of paper and refer to this list while you're reading the script out loud. And students are encouraged to refer to these words and use them in their writing activities for the same unit. Then, depending on the length of the script, students may eventually work in small groups of maybe 3 to 5 students with assigned roles. So everyone should be given an opportunity to read equal parts of the text. So that could look like a reader reading more than one part or playing more than one part. And then lastly, you will perform as the final activity. You can allow the students to perform informally for their class or other classes, and you can also like make a big scale thing and invite families and let the kids show off a little bit. All right, and my second activity is also from Read, Write, Think. It's Story Innovations. This one was really cool. I really liked this one. So this using story innovation to teach fluency, vocab, and structure by creating a story innovation, which I'll tell you about, by changing the setting, character, and vocabulary words. So this is a great opportunity for students to practice comprehension, vocab, and fluency, to explore the story elements in a more fun and unique way. It's a strategy that takes a text and allows the students to change the character and story elements to make a personalized version of the story. So in the first step, this is also for grades 3 through 6, so it's a little bit of an older elementary age student lesson. So the first step in the strategy is to prepare the students for story innovation by asking the students to think about their favorite places and then read the story to students, modeling fluent reading. The second step would be creating the story innovation by reviewing the story and story maps from the last session you did. Share the story innovations that you have created with the class, and then ask volunteers to read aloud their story. And then the final step is going to be comparing and contrasting using a Venn diagram of the two stories, the original one and the student-led one. So that one's super fun. All right, and then let's see. Lastly, here are my references. Alrighty, thank you so much.